Admiral Kethvar stood on the bridge of his massive ship. The ship was called Dominion's Edge, and it was the largest war vessel in the Vulcan Empire. Through the clear windows, he could see hundreds of other ships flying beside his own. They moved through space like a pack of metal wolves ready to hunt. The Vulcan Empire ruled 12 different star systems. For 300 years, they had never lost a single battle. Their weapons could destroy entire cities in minutes. Their shields could stop any attack. No enemy had ever made them retreat. Today, they were going to conquer a small blue planet. Called Earth, Kethvar looked at the reports on his screen. The planet had only one star, which the humans called the Sun. The humans lived on the third planet from their star. They had not even learned to travel between stars yet. Their technology was weak. Their weapons were simple. It would be an easy victory. But something bothered the Admiral. 3 different alien races had sent messages to the Vulcan Empire. All 3 messages said the same thing. Do not attack the humans, do not go to their planet, do not fight them. The first warning came from the Mallory. They were peaceful traders who traveled between many worlds. They never fought wars. They only bought and sold goods. Their message was simple. The humans are more dangerous than they appear. Please do not attack them. The second warning came from the Brex warrior clans. The Brex were famous fighters. They loved battle. They respected strength. But even they said, "We have seen what humans can do. Turn your ships around. Go home." The third warning was the strangest. It came from the Vorthak, an ancient race that was older than any other known species. The Vorthak rarely spoke to anyone. They had been alive when the galaxy was young. Their message was just 4 words. Do not wake them. Kethvar had read these warnings many times. He did not understand them. How could a species that had never left their own star system be dangerous? The humans had no great ships. They had no energy weapons. They could barely reach their own moon. The Admiral turned to his second-in-command. "Commander Zethrin, what do you think of these warnings?" Zethrin was a tall Vulcan with blue skin and 4 arms. He had fought in 20 successful invasions. "Admiral, I think these other races are weak. They are afraid of their own shadows. The humans have nothing that can hurt us." But why would 3 different species all say the same thing? Perhaps they want to keep this planet for themselves. Perhaps they want the humans as slaves. It does not matter. We are stronger than all of them. Far away on Earth, Commander Lee Tae-ho sat in front of a wall of screens. He worked in a space station that orbited high above Earth. His job was to watch for ships coming from other star systems. For 3 years, he had seen nothing. Today was different. The screens showed hundreds of red dots moving toward Earth. The dots were moving very fast. Too fast to be natural objects like rocks or ice. These were ships. Big ships. Lee Tae-ho pressed a button on his control panel. "Command, this is Orbital Station 7. We have contact. Multiple ships approaching. From Sector 97 Alpha. Count is over 400 vessels," a voice answered from the speakers. "Station 7, are you sure? Check your readings again." "I have checked 3 times. The ships are real. They will reach Earth in 6 hours." On the surface of Earth, Dr. Park Soo-jin received the alert on her computer. She was working deep underground in a secret research center. The center was built inside a mountain, hidden from anyone who might look from space. Only a few hundred people knew it existed. Soo-jin had been waiting for this day for her entire life. She was 43 years old. She had spent 20 years preparing for this moment. Around her, dozens of other scientists were working at computers and control panels. "Everyone, listen," Soo-jin said in a loud voice. "The ships are coming. Begin final preparations for Project Prometheus." The other scientists began pressing buttons and typing on keyboards. Lights started flashing all around the room. Machines hummed to life. Computer screens showed complex diagrams and numbers. Project Prometheus was humanity's greatest secret. For 50 years, the best minds on Earth had worked on it. It was not just one invention. It was hundreds of inventions working together. Most humans did not know it existed. Even most governments did not know about it. Captain Kim Do-hyun received new orders on his military radio. He was standing in a bunker near the city of Seoul. Through the small windows, he could see normal people walking on the streets. They did not know that alien ships were coming. They did not know that their world was about to change forever. Kyatter, orders were strange. Kim Do-hyun had expected to be told to prepare his weapons. He had expected to be told to get ready for battle. Instead, the orders said, "Let them land. Do not attack until you receive the code word Phoenix. Repeat, let them land." Kim Do-hyun had been a soldier for 15 years. He had fought in many battles, but he had never been told to let an enemy land without fighting. He trusted his commanders, but this felt wrong. He picked up his radio. "Command, please confirm orders. We are to allow enemy landing." "Confirmed, Captain. Let them land. Your real orders will come later." Back in space, Admiral Kethavar watched the blue planet grow larger on his screens. It looked peaceful. White clouds swirled around green and brown land. It looked like any other world that the Vulcan Empire had conquered. "Admiral," said Commander Zethrin, "we are receiving a transmission from the planet." "Put it on the main screen." The screen flickered, and a human face appeared. The human was an older man with gray hair. He was wearing a blue uniform with gold decorations. Behind him was a flag with red, white, and blue colors. "I am President Morrison of the United Earth Government," the human said. "We know you are coming to our world. We are asking you to turn around and leave. We do not want to fight you, but if you attack us, we will defend ourselves." Admiral Kethavar laughed. The sound echoed through the bridge. Other Vulcan officers also laughed. The human looked so serious, but he had nothing to threaten them with. "Human," Kethavar said, "your weapons cannot hurt our ships. Your planet has no defenses we cannot break. Surrender now and we will not destroy your cities." "President." Morrison's face did not change. "Admiral, I will say this one more time. Leave our system. Do not land on our planet. This is your final warning." "Or what?" Kethavar asked. "Or you will learn why 3 different species tried to warn you about us." The transmission ended. The screen went dark. Kethavar turned to his officers. "Begin the invasion. Send the first wave to the major cities. Destroy their military bases. Show them the power of the Vulcan Empire." The great ships moved into Earth's atmosphere. They were dark against the blue sky. People on the ground looked up and pointed. Some ran away. Others stood and watched. In the underground bunker, Dr. Park Soo-jin watched the ships on her screens. She counted them carefully. 437 ships. Just as the computer models had predicted. She picked up a red phone. "All stations. This is Control. The visitors have arrived. Begin Phase 1 of Project Prometheus. I repeat, begin Phase 1. Around the world, hidden doors opened. Secret weapons came online. Technology that had been sleeping for decades woke up. The aliens thought they were invading a weak planet. They were about to learn that humans had been preparing for this day for a very long time. The first ships landed in New York, London, Tokyo, Moscow, and Beijing. Vulcan soldiers stepped out of their ships. They carried energy weapons that could cut through steel. They wore armor that could stop bullets. They had come to conquer Earth. They had no idea what was waiting for them. The first sign that something was wrong came at exactly noon, Earth time. Vulcan patrols in 12 different cities reported the same thing. Human soldiers were attacking with weapons that should not exist. In Seoul, Colonel An Min-jun aimed his new rifle at a Vulcan soldier. The alien was wearing full armor and energy shields. Nothing should have been able to hurt him. Min-jun pulled the trigger. The bullet passed through the alien's shield like it was made of air. It went through his armor like it was paper. The Vulcan soldier fell down dead before he hit the ground. "Impossible," whispered Sergeant Yu. "How did that work?" Min-jun smiled as he aimed at another alien. "I do not know how it works. I just know that it does work." The rifle was firing bullets that existed in 2 places at the same time. The bullets could phase through solid matter and then become solid again. The Vulcan shields were designed to stop normal bullets. They could not stop bullets that disappeared and reappeared on the other side. In Tokyo, Sergeant Yoon Hae-ri was using different technology. Her squad was wearing armor that made them invisible, but not in the way most people understood invisible. The armor bent light around them, but it also bent space itself. Hae-ri could walk through walls. She could appear behind enemies without using doors or windows. When Vulcan soldiers tried to shoot her, their weapons aimed at where she appeared to be, not where she actually was. Target the communications equipment, she told her squad through the neural network. Make them blind and deaf. Her soldiers moved like ghosts through the alien command center. They planted small devices on computers and radio equipment. The devices looked harmless, but they contained technology that could rewrite alien software. In Los Angeles, the devices that engineer Choi Bin had planted were coming to life. The small metal boxes were actually quantum tunneling mines. When activated, they could make solid matter disappear and reappear somewhere else. Choi Bin watched from a safe distance as a Vulcan heavy walker stepped over one of his devices. He pressed a button on his remote control. The walker's left leg disappeared. The giant machine crashed to the ground with a sound like a building falling down. "Sir," said one of his workers, "how does that work?" "The mine creates a tunnel through space," Choi Bin explained. "The leg goes into the tunnel here and comes out on the moon. The alien walker is now missing a leg, and there is a large metal leg sitting on the moon's surface." Technician Oh Sung-min was working in a different part of the city. His job was to activate the building transformation systems. Most people thought the destroyed buildings were just rubble. They were wrong. When Oh pressed the activation codes, the rubble began to move. Broken concrete reformed into gun barrels. Twisted steel became missile launchers. What had looked like the ruins of a city became a fortress with thousands of hidden weapons. The Vulcan soldiers in Los Angeles suddenly found themselves being shot at from every direction. The buildings themselves were fighting back. Windows became gun ports. Streetlights became laser cannons. Even the road signs were shooting at them. Dr. Ryu Ji-woo was monitoring the neural network from her control center in underground Tokyo. The network connected every human soldier on Earth through quantum-entangled brain implants. It allowed them to share thoughts, memories, and tactical information instantly. "Network efficiency is at 97%, she reported to Dr. Park Soo-jin. "All units are connected. Shared consciousness is stable." This was humanity's secret weapon. Individual humans were smart and brave, but connected humans were something that no alien species had ever encountered. They could think as one mind while still acting as individual people. When a human soldier in New York learned something useful, every other human soldier in the world knew it immediately. When someone in London discovered a weakness in alien armor, soldiers in Beijing could use that knowledge right away. Lieutenant Nam Bo-ra was using the shared knowledge to lead her mechanized unit through the ruins of Frankfurt. Her powered armor was connected directly to the city's infrastructure through quantum communication links. She could see through every security camera in the city. She could control every traffic light, every electronic billboard, every automated system. The city had become an extension of her own body. Enemy patrol moving down Friedrich Street, she thought to her unit. Instantly, every soldier in her command knew exactly where the enemies were, how they were armed, and what route they would take. But Nam could do more than just gather information. She could control the city itself. When she thought about blocking a street, traffic barriers rose from the ground. When she wanted to trap enemies in a building, the doors locked automatically. The Vulcans found themselves fighting an enemy that seemed to know their every move before they made it. Human soldiers appeared exactly where they were needed. Traps activated at precisely the right moment. It was like fighting an opponent who could see the future. On his flagship, Admiral Kethavar was receiving reports that made no sense. "Admiral," said Commander Zethrin, "our forces are reporting impossible things. Humans are using weapons that phase through our shields. Their armor makes them invisible to our sensors. Our heavy walkers are being destroyed by devices that make parts of them disappear." "How many casualties?" Kethavar asked. 300 soldiers in the first hour. 12 heavy walkers destroyed. 6 aircraft missing." Kethavar stood up from his command chair. In 300 years of conquest, the Vulcan Empire had never lost so many soldiers so quickly to a primitive species. Are you certain these reports are accurate? I have video recordings, Admiral. The main screen showed footage from the battle in Seoul. Vulcan soldiers were firing their energy weapons at human targets. The humans should have been vaporized instantly. Instead, the energy beams passed through them harmlessly while the humans shot back with weapons that somehow penetrated Vulcan shields. This is impossible, Kethvar said. Their technology should not be advanced enough for these weapons. Sir, there is something else. Our communications with the ground forces are being disrupted. Our sensors are showing false readings. Some of our ships report that their computer systems are acting strangely. Major Kwon Suho smiled as he listened to the enemy radio chatter through his translation device. The aliens were confused and frightened. They had expected an easy victory against primitive humans. Instead, they were losing a battle against technology they could not understand. Suho was commanding the defense of the underground entrance near Paris. The Vulcans had found the elevator shaft and were trying to break in. They did not know that. The elevator was just the smallest part of humanity's underground civilization. Let them come down, he told his soldiers. Let them see what we have built. The aliens entered the elevator shaft with their weapons ready. They descended for 3 kilometers, expecting to find a simple bunker. When the doors opened, they saw something that made them stop and stare. The underground city stretched out before them like something from a dream. Buildings rose up toward an artificial sky that looked exactly like the real one. Parks and gardens filled the spaces between structures. The sound of waterfalls echoed in the distance. But this was not just a city. Every building was a fortress. Every street was designed for defense. Every park contained hidden weapon systems. The Vulcans had found humanity's underground civilization, but they had also walked into the most advanced defensive system ever built. Welcome to New Geneva, Suho said over a loudspeaker. You are now 3 kilometers underground. The exits are sealed. Your ships cannot reach you here. Surrender now, or learn why we built this city to be a trap. Captain Song Minseo received the signal that Phase 3 was ready to begin. From her command ship, hidden in Earth's orbit, she could see the entire Vulcan fleet. The aliens still thought Earth had no space defenses. All stealth ships prepare to decloak, she ordered through the quantum network. Show them that humans can fight in space as well as on the ground. Around Earth's orbit, 50 human warships became visible. They had been hiding using technology that bent space-time itself. The Vulcan sensors had been looking for ships in normal space. The human ships had been hiding in folded space. But these were not the only surprises humanity had prepared. Song activated the planetary defense grid that had been built into Earth's moon. What the aliens thought was natural rock was actually the largest fortress ever constructed. The moon's surface opened like a flower. Weapon systems that could destroy planets emerged from hidden chambers. Energy collectors that had been disguised, as craters began to glow with power. Admiral Kethvar watched in horror as his easy conquest turned into a nightmare. The primitive planet he had come to conquer was revealing technology that was more advanced than anything in the Vulcan Empire. Sir, said Zethrin, what are your orders? For the first time in his military career, Kethvar did not know what to say. The Vulcan soldiers walked through the streets of New York like they owned the city. Their energy weapons glowed with blue light. Their armor was black and shiny. Each soldier was 7 feet tall and had 4 arms. People ran away screaming when they saw them. Colonel An Min-jun watched the alien soldiers from his hiding place on a rooftop in Seoul. He had 50 human soldiers with him. All of them wanted to fight, all of them wanted to shoot the invaders, but their orders were clear. Watch and wait. Sir, whispered Sergeant Yu, why are we not fighting? They are destroying our city. Min-jun looked through his binoculars. The Vulcan soldiers were using their weapons to break down doors. They were taking prisoners. They were putting up their own flags on important buildings. Because someone smarter than us made a plan, Min-jun said. We follow orders. We wait for the signal. In Tokyo, Sergeant Yoon Hairi was also watching. She was hidden in the ruins of a building that the Vulcans had destroyed with their ship weapons. Her squad was wearing special armor, that made them invisible to alien sensors. The armor was black and smooth, like liquid metal. Hairi had never seen armor like this before yesterday. The equipment had come from secret warehouses that she did not know existed. Along with the armor, they had been given new weapons. The weapons looked like normal rifles, but they hummed with strange energy. "Sergeant," said Private Kim through the radio, "the aliens are setting up some kind of control center in the old government building." "I see it," Hairi replied. "Count the guards, note their positions, but do not engage. Not yet." She wondered what made these new weapons special. The instructions said they would work against Vulcan shields. Every military person knew that alien shields could stop any bullet or missile. So how could these human rifles be different? In Los Angeles, engineer Choi Bin was working in the sewers beneath the city. He and his team were placing small metal devices under important buildings. The devices were no bigger than a coffee cup, but they were very heavy. It took 2 men to carry each one. "What are these things?" asked one of his workers. "I do not know," Choi Bin said, "but the instructions are clear. 1 device every 50 meters. Connect the green wires to the power lines. Connect the red wires to the communication cables." Above them, Vulcan heavy walkers stomped through the streets. The walkers were giant machines with legs like spiders. Each one was as big as a house. They had weapons that could destroy a tank with 1 shot. Choi Bin could hear them walking overhead. The sound was like thunder. But he kept working. His orders came from the highest levels of government. Someone very important wanted these devices installed before the aliens found them. In Australia, Professor Zhang Yuri was working in a command center that did not officially exist. The center was built deep underground, beneath what looked like empty desert. The entrance was hidden inside a fake rock formation. The command center was huge. It had hundreds of computers and screens. People in white coats were working at control panels. The walls showed maps of the entire world. Red lights marked where alien ships had landed. "Professor," said one of her assistants, "all units are in position. The network is ready to activate." Yuri looked at the main screen. It showed a map of Earth with thousands of green dots. Each dot was a human military unit. Each unit was connected to a secret communication system that the aliens could not detect. "Not yet," she said. "Let them think they are winning. Let them spread out. Let them make the mistake of dividing their forces." On the Vulcan flagship, Admiral Kethavar was reading reports from his ground commanders. The invasion was going exactly as planned. Human armies had retreated from every major city. The primitive weapons of Earth could not penetrate Vulcan shields. Human aircraft had been shot down easily. "Admiral," said Commander Zethrin, "the humans are weaker than we thought. Their soldiers run away when they see us. Their weapons do no damage to our armor." "How many prisoners have we taken?" "Nearly 10,000 in the first day. We have complete control of 6 major cities. The human governments are trying to contact us. They want to surrender." Kethavar smiled. This was easier than conquering an uninhabited planet. "Do not accept their surrender yet. Let them suffer for a few more days. Fear will make them more obedient slaves." But not everything was going as smoothly as the report suggested. In London, a Vulcan patrol had disappeared. All 12 soldiers were gone. Their armor was found in an alley, but the soldiers inside had vanished. In Moscow, 2 Vulcan aircraft had crashed for no apparent reason. The pilots reported that their controls stopped working just before the crashes. The wreckage showed no sign of weapons damage. In Beijing, a Vulcan command post had lost contact with their main ship. The building was still there. The guards were still at their posts. But no one inside would answer radio calls. Captain Songmin Seo received these reports in her secret base. The base was built inside a mountain in Switzerland. From the outside, it looked like a normal ski resort. Inside, it was one of the most advanced military facilities on Earth. "The quantum scramblers are working," she told her team. "The aliens cannot understand why their equipment is failing. They think it is just bad luck." Song had been trained to use technology that most humans had never heard of. The quantum scramblers could make alien computers stop working. They could make alien weapons misfire. They could even make alien soldiers forget where they were supposed to go. "Captain," said Lieutenant Park, "we are ready for Phase 2. All stealth ships are in position." Song looked at the tactical display. Around Earth's orbit, 50 human ships were hiding. The ships were invisible to alien sensors. They had been there for 3 days waiting. The aliens thought Earth had no space fleet. They were wrong. Back on the surface, Major Kwan Suho was leading a group of civilians to safety. The civilians thought he was helping them escape from the aliens. They did not know that he was actually leading them to a secret entrance to the underground cities. The underground cities were humanity's greatest secret. For 30 years, millions of people had been working to build them. They were connected by tunnels that ran beneath every continent. The cities had their own power, their own farms, their own factories. If the surface world was destroyed, humanity could survive underground for hundreds of years. "Major," said one of the civilians, "where are we going? This tunnel is not on any map." "Trust me," Suho replied. "You will be safe where we are going." The tunnel led to an elevator that went down for 3 kilometers. At the bottom was a city that could hold 1 million people. The civilians gasped when they saw it. Buildings rose up toward an artificial sky. Parks and gardens filled the spaces between buildings. It looked like a normal city, except it was buried deep in the earth. "How long has this been here?" asked a woman. "Longer than you might think," Suho said. In the hidden command center in Australia, Professor Yuri watched as more reports came in. The aliens were taking control of more cities. They were capturing more humans. They were setting up permanent bases. It was almost time. "Professor," said her assistant, "the alien fleet commander is demanding that our government surrender officially. He wants a ceremony where human leaders bow to him." Yuri smiled. "Perfect. The more confident they become, the harder they will fall. Begin Phase 2. Activate the quantum network." Around the world, human soldiers received a signal on equipment they had never seen before. The signal went directly into their brains through tiny devices that had been implanted behind their ears. Suddenly, every human fighter could talk to every other human fighter just by thinking. Colonel Minjun felt the connection open in his mind. Suddenly, he could sense the thoughts of soldiers in Tokyo, London, Moscow, and every other city. It was like becoming part of a giant brain that stretched across the entire planet. Through the network, he heard Dr. Park Soo-jin's voice. "All units, this is Control. Phase 2 is active. You know what to do. Show them what humans are really capable of." The real war was about to begin. Admiral Kethvar stood alone on the bridge of his damaged flagship. Through the cracked windows, he could see the burning remains of the Vulcan fleet floating in space. In 7 days, the greatest military force in the galaxy had been reduced to wreckage. His hands shook as he reached for the communication controls. For the first time in his 300 years of life, he was about to surrender. "This is Admiral Kethvar of the Vulcan Empire," he said into the microphone. We surrender. Please spare my remaining soldiers." The response came immediately. General Shin Hua-young appeared on his screen. She was standing in what had been the Vulcan Command Center in Seoul. Behind her, alien soldiers sat with their hands bound, looking defeated and confused. "Admiral," she said, "your surrender is accepted. Prepare to be boarded. You and your officers will be taken into custody until arrangements can be made for your return to Vulcan space." "General, how is this possible? Your species had no advanced technology when we arrived. How did you defeat us so completely?" Shin smiled sadly. "Admiral, we tried to tell you. 3 different species warned your empire not to attack us. You should have listened." The truth was more complex than the Admiral could understand. Humanity had not developed advanced technology in the 7 days of the invasion. They had been developing it for over 2 centuries. It had started in the year 1890, when a human scientist named Tesla had made contact with beings from another dimension. Those beings had shared knowledge that allowed humans to transcend the normal limits of physics. But humanity had been wise enough to keep this advancement secret. For generations, the most brilliant human minds had worked in hidden laboratories. They had learned to manipulate matter at the quantum level. They had discovered how to fold space and time. They had created artificial intelligences that could think in ways no biological brain could comprehend. Most importantly, they had learned to hide their true capabilities from anyone who might be watching from space. President Yu Dongmin sat in his office, 3 kilometers beneath what aliens had thought was humanity's capital city. The real human civilization existed mostly underground, and in pocket dimensions that normal sensors could not detect. "Sir," said his aide, "representatives from 47 different species are requesting immediate diplomatic contact. They all want to establish formal relations with Earth." "I imagine they do," Yu replied. "What about the 3 species who warned the Vulcans? The Mallory, Brex, and Vorthak are all requesting permission to visit Earth personally. They say they have been waiting for humanity to reveal itself for a very long time." The president nodded. Those 3 species had somehow known humanity's secret. They had tried to protect Earth by warning others to stay away. Now that the secret was out, it was time to meet them properly. Director Park Kyung-ho was reviewing the final casualty reports from the command center at Earth's core. The numbers were almost too good to believe. In a war against the galaxy's most powerful empire, humanity had lost only 12 people. The Vulcans had lost nearly 500,000 soldiers and most of their fleet. "How many prisoners?" he asked. "Approximately 50,000 Vulcan soldiers and 3,000 officers. The survivors are being held in comfortable facilities while we arrange their transportation home. Any requests for asylum?" "Actually, yes. About 200 Vulcan soldiers have asked to remain on Earth. They say they do not want to return to an empire that would attack without provocation." Park made a note to review those applications personally. Some of the aliens might genuinely want to live in peace. Others might be spies. But humanity could afford to be generous in victory. Ambassador Lee Na-young was preparing for the most important diplomatic meeting in human history. In 3 hours, she would address the Galactic Council, a group of representatives from every known species in the galaxy. "The speech is ready," her assistant told her. "But are you sure about revealing so much about our capabilities?" "The secret is already out," Lee replied. "Every species in the galaxy now knows that humans are not what they appeared to be. We can either let them fear us, or we can show them that we want to be partners, not conquerors." The speech would announce humanity's application to join the Galactic Council as an equal member, but it would also make clear that Earth would defend itself against any future aggression with weapons that could destroy entire star systems. Dr. Park Soo-jin stood in the laboratory where Project Prometheus had been born. Around her, the quantum computers that had coordinated Earth's defense were being reconfigured for peaceful purposes. The same artificial intelligence that had controlled the battle could now be used to solve problems across the galaxy. "Doctor," said one of her researchers, "we are receiving scientific data requests from universities on 300 different worlds. Everyone wants to understand how our technology works." "Start with the basics," Soo-jin replied. "Share our medical advances first. Let them see that we use our knowledge to heal, not just to fight." Humanity's victory had been overwhelming, but it had also been terrifying to other species. The galaxy needed to see that humans were not interested in conquest. They were interested in progress, in discovery, in making life better for everyone. Captain Kim Do-hyun was leading a team of human soldiers through the ruins of what had been a Vulcan base in Seoul. They were helping alien wounded and making sure that prisoners were treated properly. The invasion was over, but the work of building peace was just beginning. "Captain," said one of his soldiers, "some of the alien soldiers are asking how we learned to fight so well. They want to know where our weapons came from." "Tell them the truth," Kim replied. "We have been preparing for this day for over 200 years. Not because we wanted war, but because we knew that eventually someone would try to conquer us." The soldier looked confused. "But sir, 200 years ago we did not even have electric lights." Kim smiled. "That is what we wanted everyone to think." In his underground laboratory, engineer Choi Bin was working with a team of Vulcan scientists who had volunteered to remain on Earth. They were studying human quantum tunneling technology and trying to understand how it worked. "This is impossible according to our physics," said one of the aliens. "Matter cannot exist in two places simultaneously." "Your physics are incomplete," Choi explained patiently. "Reality has more dimensions than you realize. We learned to use those dimensions centuries ago." The alien scientist's four eyes widened with understanding. "You mean that your entire civilization exists partially outside normal space? That is why our sensors could not detect your real capabilities?" "Exactly. We built our advanced cities and laboratories in folded space. From the outside, Earth looked primitive. From the inside, we were building a civilization that could defend itself against any threat." Sergeant Yoon Hae-ri was helping with the cleanup in Tokyo. Vulcan heavy walkers that had been destroyed by quantum tunneling mines were being studied by human engineers. The alien technology was impressive, but it was still centuries behind human capabilities. "Sergeant," asked one of the engineers, "what should we do with all this alien equipment?" "Study it," she replied. "Learn from it, then improve it and give it back to them. Show them that we are better allies than enemies." This was humanity's strategy for the future. They would share their knowledge gradually, helping other species advance while making sure that no one would ever again think that Earth was an easy target. The cleanup continued for weeks. Vulcan soldiers were treated in human hospitals using medical technology that could heal injuries in hours instead of months. Alien prisoners were housed in comfortable facilities while arrangements were made for their transportation home. 3 months after the invasion, the last Vulcan ship left Earth's solar system. Admiral Kethvar was aboard that ship, carrying a message from humanity to his government. The message was simple. Earth wanted peace, but Earth was prepared for war. The news of humanity's victory spread across the galaxy faster than light. Within a year, 47 different species had established embassies on Earth. Trade routes that had never included the human solar system suddenly made Earth a regular stop. The Galactic Council voted unanimously to invite humanity to join as a full member. Earth became the first planet to join the Council after demonstrating its ability to defend itself against a major empire. But the most important result was that no species ever again made the mistake of underestimating humanity. The warnings that had been ignored by the Vulcan Empire became part of galactic law. Earth was off-limits to conquest. Children across the galaxy learned about the Battle of Earth in their history classes. They learned that sometimes the smallest-looking opponent could be the most dangerous. They learned that wisdom meant listening when 3 different species all gave the same warning. And in the depths of space, when aggressive species planned their conquests, they always checked one thing first. Was their target under the protection of the humans? President Yu Dongmin stood on the observation deck of Earth's new orbital city, looking out at the ships from dozens of different worlds that now visited regularly. Humanity had entered the galactic community not as conquerors, but as protectors of peace. "Sir," said his aide, "the Galactic Council has asked if Earth would be willing to help defend other worlds against aggressive empires." The battle for Earth's orbit began at 1430 Earth time. Captain Song Minseo watched from the bridge of her stealth frigate as the human fleet revealed itself to the Vulcan Empire. 50 ships appeared from nowhere, surrounding the alien fleet, like hunters surrounding prey. "Fire at will," Song commanded through the neural network. The human ships opened fire with weapons that defied known physics, particle beams that could cut through any armor, gravity missiles that created tiny black holes, energy cannons that fired concentrated starlight. The Vulcan flagship shook as the first human weapons hit its shields. Admiral Kethvar grabbed his command chair to keep from falling. "Shields at 60%, reported his weapons officer. "How is that possible? Their weapons should not be able to penetrate our defenses." "Return fire," Kethvar ordered. "Destroy those ships." The Vulcan fleet fired back with their most powerful weapons. Energy beams that could vaporize mountains lanced out toward the human ships. But something impossible happened. The beams passed through the human vessels without causing any damage. "Sir," said Commander Zethran, "our weapons are having no effect. The human ships are phasing in and out of normal space. We cannot hit targets that are not completely in our dimension." Song smiled as she watched the alien weapons pass harmlessly through her ship. Human technology could shift between normal space and hyperspace in milliseconds. The aliens were firing at ships that were only half real. But the moon was the real surprise. As Admiral Kethvar watched in growing horror, Earth's natural satellite began to transform. The gray surface cracked open like an egg. Massive weapon systems emerged from hidden chambers that must have taken decades to build. "That is not a moon," whispered Zethrin. "That is a fortress." The moon's weapons fired. Beams of pure energy, wider than city blocks, reached across space and began systematically destroying Vulcan ships. Each shot vaporized a vessel that had taken years to build. In 10 minutes, the Vulcan fleet lost half its ships. On the surface of Earth, the ground war was turning into a rout. Human soldiers were emerging from hiding places that the Vulcans had not known existed. They came from underground tunnels, from buildings that had seemed empty, from forests and mountains where no bases should have been possible. Admiral Bei Jin-woo stood on the bridge of the human flagship Indomitable as it rose from what the aliens had thought was a large lake. The entire lake had been a disguise. Underneath the water was a shipyard that could build vessels larger than anything in the Vulcan fleet. "All ships, this is Admiral Bei," he broadcast on all frequencies. "Begin Operation Homecoming. Show our guests what Earth is really capable of." Across Earth's solar system, objects that had seemed to be asteroids suddenly came to life. They were not rocks floating in space. They were human ships that had been waiting in hibernation mode for years. Hundreds of them. Each one armed with weapons that could crack planets. Dr. Han Ye-jin watched from her control center on the moon as Project Prometheus entered its final phase. For 50 years, humanity had been preparing for this moment. Not just building weapons, but building a network of artificial intelligence that could coordinate the defense of an entire world. "Prometheus is online," she announced. "All systems are under AI control." Prometheus was not just one computer. It was a network of quantum processors hidden across the Earth, the moon, and throughout the solar system. It could think faster than any biological brain. It could control every piece of technology on Earth simultaneously. The AI immediately took control of every alien device within range. Vulcan weapons turned on their own soldiers. Alien aircraft changed course and began attacking their own ships. Computer viruses spread through the alien fleet faster than lightning. Specialist Lim Jae-hyuk led his assault team through the streets of Berlin as the Vulcan occupation forces began to collapse. The aliens were confused and demoralized. Their weapons would not work properly. Their communications were filled with false information. Their own equipment was fighting against them. "Sir," said one of his soldiers, "why did we wait so long to use these weapons? We could have won on the first day." "Because," Lim explained, "we needed them to commit all their forces. We needed them to spread out across the planet. We needed them to bring their entire fleet into our solar system. Now they have no way to escape." The underground cities were revealing themselves across the globe. What the Vulcans had thought was a simple planet with primitive surface dwellers was actually a complex civilization that extended deep into the Earth's crust. Entire continents were honeycombed with tunnels, chambers, and facilities. General Shin Hua-young emerged from the Seoul underground complex with 10,000 human soldiers. They were wearing powered armor that made them stronger than the alien invaders. They carried weapons that could destroy any target. Most importantly, they were all connected through the neural network that let them fight as one coordinated force. "All units, advance," she commanded. "Time to take our planet back." The Vulcan soldiers in Seoul found themselves surrounded by an army that seemed to appear from nowhere. Human soldiers emerged from sewers, from buildings, from the ground itself. The aliens were outnumbered 10-1 by an enemy that knew every street and every building. In Tokyo, Sergeant Yoon Hai-ri watched as alien heavy walkers tried to retreat to their landing ships. But the ships were no longer under alien control. Prometheus had taken over their computer systems. The walkers found themselves locked out of their own transports. "This is impossible," one of the alien pilots was saying over the radio. "Our own ships will not obey us." Hai-ri activated her translation device and responded, "You were warned not to come here. 3 different species told you to stay away. You should have listened. The tide of battle had completely turned. What had started as an alien invasion was now becoming a human counterattack. The Vulcans were retreating from every major city. Their fleet in orbit was being systematically destroyed. Their ground forces were cut off from support. Ambassador Lee Na-young stood in the United Nations building in New York as representatives from 12 different alien species watched the battle through quantum communication links. The message she was about to deliver would be heard across the galaxy. People of the stars, she began, you are witnessing the defense of Earth. For decades, we have prepared for this day. We have built weapons you cannot imagine. We have created technology that transcends the known laws of physics. We have become something that no species in the galaxy has seen before. She paused and looked directly into the camera that was broadcasting her words to distant worlds. We sought peace. We tried to warn the Vulcan Empire to turn away, but they chose war. Now you see the result. Humanity is not the primitive species you thought we were. We are not weak. We are not defenseless. And we are not alone. The camera turned to show the interior of the UN building. It was filled with humans, but they were not normal humans. These people could interface directly with quantum computers. They could control matter at the molecular level. They could communicate across light years of space with thought alone. We are the next step in evolution, Lee continued. We are what organic life becomes when it merges with technology, when it transcends the limits of biology, when it learns to reshape reality itself. Director Park Kyung-ho was monitoring the global situation from the deepest command center on Earth. It was located at the planet's core, where the pressure and heat were so intense that no normal matter could exist. But humanity had learned to build with materials that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Casualty report, he requested. Human casualties, 47 injured, 3 dead, came the reply. Alien casualties, approximately 200,000 dead or captured. Their fleet has lost 80% of its ships. The numbers were almost unbelievable. The most powerful military force in the known galaxy had been defeated by a species they had considered primitive. But the truth was that humanity had not been primitive for a very long time. For generations, the best human minds had been working in secret. They had learned to manipulate space and time. They had created artificial intelligence that could think in 11 dimensions. They had built a civilization that existed as much in hyperspace as in normal reality. The Vulcan Empire had attacked the shadow of humanity. They had never seen the real civilization that existed beneath the surface, above the sky, and between the spaces of normal matter. On his flagship, Admiral Kethvar stared at the tactical display in defeat. His mighty fleet was reduced to less than 100 ships. His ground forces were surrendering or being destroyed. The humans were offering him one chance to save the survivors. Admiral, said Commander Zethrin, we are receiving a transmission from the human commander. President Yu Dong-min appeared on the main screen. He was speaking from what looked like a simple office, but the walls behind him showed views of cities that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Admiral Kethvar, he said, your invasion has failed. Your empire is broken, but we are not monsters. Surrender now and we will allow your surviving soldiers to return home. Continue fighting, and we will demonstrate weapons that can unmake entire star systems. Behind the president, the wall became transparent. Through it, Kethvar could see the true scope of human civilization.